Cue the fireworks and imaginary applause. We are back with another round of MB2 Underground. I am Sarah Kiefer.
And I'm Joe Fox. Welcome, Miss Kiefer. How are we doing?
Welcome, Mr. Fox. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, because I feel like you always ask me, but I never...
Oh, well, it's very sweet of you. Thank you.
You good?
I appreciate that. I'm great, man. I get to be here. This is a blast. We've got another awesome guest.
Rock star guest.
Right.
There's a lot of coffee mentioned, so I'm really pumped.
Yeah, coffee's a pretty special thing. But this individual is absolutely incredible. We have a ton of great partners in MB2, folks that are doing incredible things. This guy really takes the cake, though, and so doing some awesome stuff. He's got a big, beautiful, successful business, but on the quote unquote side, just doing some incredible things. So
yeah, look at these brochures and these pamphlets.
Yeah, we're going to get that up to the camera and give him an opportunity to talk about all the cool things they're doing. So, without further ado, the favorite son of Abilene, Texas, owner of Children's Dentistry of Abilene, Dr. Norman Poorman. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
I know before this we asked if you've ever done anything like this, and you've done a lot of interviews.
Yes.
You've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, because a lot of the disaster and stuff that we do, there's a lot going on in the world right now. So we've had a few good interviews lately.
Awesome, man. Awesome. We can't wait to get into that. So listen, before we get started into that fun, cool stuff, I got to ask you about some Texas high school football stories, man.
Alrighty, we'll go way on back.
Yay, sports.
Please.
You know, as dentists, we have a lot of pivotal moments. And as a pediatric dentist, I think all children have those pivotal moments in their life.
Yeah.
You know, for our own kids, we see them make the team or they make the winning free throw or whatever it might look like.
That's basketball, right?
That's basketball.
Sorry.
But back in football, they catch touchdown, right?
Yeah.
I was not that dude. But we went to high school playoffs my junior and senior year. We went all the way to the semifinals, actually, and played in the Astrodome, played at UT Stadium, Texas A&M.
It's amazing.
Abilene Cooper, who'd you? No.
Kerrville Tivy.
Ooh, Kerrville.
Yeah.
Home of Johnny Football.
Johnny Football.
Home of Johnny Football.
Wow.
That's,
One of our
whoa.
other doctors, Glenn Stern, went there as well.
Oh, yeah.
really?
I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Dr. Stern got to play Torrey Pines yesterday. He was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, he was very happy.
Man, I didn't know you're from Kerrville. What a cool part of the state.
Oh, yes.
It's beautiful.
That's, I think, a big part of all of our testimonies. You know, Kerrville is so very great to my wife and I growing up.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great little community. My wife and I are both born and raised there. Same
Awesome.
doctor gave birth to us.
Oh, wow.
2 years and 8 days apart. So it's pretty cool. We
really
go back
cool.
to birth, I like to think.
Yes.
Oh, I love
30
it.
years of marriage now.
Fate. Yeah,
Yeah.
God has a
Amazing.
plan, man.
Yes.
That's awesome. So how did y'all make it to Abilene?
Oh, wow. So I went to Abilene Christian University.
Yeah.
Loved it. It was very good to me. Didn't know anything about it, but I just attended that university. I just wanted kind of a straight, narrow path. I wanted a really good pre-med, pre-dental program.
Yeah.
And it was just a great fit. And so then to Baylor College of Dentistry, then UT Houston for pediatrics. Getting out of pediatrics, my wife and I were praying about where to go. You know, we had opportunities like in Frisco and in Round Rock, which would have been great.
What year is this? Give us a...
Oh my gosh, this would have been 2001.
Wow, yeah.
Okay.
Frisco
I am that old. Yeah,
has
I am
changed
that old.
since then, yeah.
Yeah, 2001 could have jumped into all those areas, but I just wanted my kids to have a smaller environment. I wanted a 10-minute commute, not a 2-hour commute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All those kind of things.
I know
And
that feeling.
Abilene was a great fit. Big little community with just enough going on.
Yeah, I love Abilene. It's a great town. Awesome. And like 3 colleges there, right? You got
Yes.
ACU, you got...
McMurray and Hardin-Simmons.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, the evil Hardin-Simmons used to be a rival of mine, the little college I went to. So
Okay,
I was in
good.
Abilene a lot, playing football and getting beat a lot. But so, Dr. Poorman, again, you're doing some incredible things. Could you maybe talk to us about your coffee company and kind of the genesis and what you're doing?
Okay, that kind of catches us up to kind of where we are today. You know, like as dentists, we have a lot of opportunities, and I think we should always kind of stick with our day jobs and what we do best.
Yeah, right.
But started doing missions about 30 years ago, and I started in Guatemala.
Wow.
Now, my wife and I, since then, do a lot of work in Guatemala. We have created United Rescue Alliance, which is a nonprofit where we do disaster trainings and so much more.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we create social solutions for communities.
Yeah.
And, one of our partnerships is Guatemala, obviously. So we're recognized in the state of Texas. We have a Gold Star Platinum rating in the U.S. of A.
How cool.
And we also have the nonprofit established and recognized in Guatemala, where we've created a community center, where we've done a dental clinic down there.
Wow.
But while we're there, you know, the doors opened up to create an export license and start bringing quality Guatemalan coffee
How cool.
Very
into
quality.
America. We want to change I'll pull this little dude up. We want to change coffee culture.
Yeah.
This is the company.
Absolutely. The One
Cafe. Yeah, meaning like
K-A-F-E. Yep.
Theone, which is also a gift from God. You have all these double meanings,
how cool.
you marketing guys. We wanted to bring transparency into coffee.
Yeah.
So when people buy this, they QR code it and it'll drop pin right to the hillside where these beans were taken.
Wow.
That's insane.
We drop an RF tag with that lot of coffee. It'll take you right to the farm, right to the farmer. It'll show the incentives of how much we paid, like 20 to 30% above market price because we want quality. And we also giving back 10% back into the region through the non-for-profit.
Super cool.
So
That's beautiful.
Coffee is a way to get a lot of people out of poverty because, you know, in so many industries, they can be manipulated a bit. And in coffee, like cocoa and other things, you can see that. And this is just a part of our calling, part of our calling with Guatemalan.
Cool.
I remember when you came in for your discovery day.
Yeah.
We toured, we sat and talked, and then I came back to my desk later and they were like, oh, Dr. Poorman left this for you. And it's like the instant coffee.
Yes.
And I'm going to be real. I do not like instant coffee. I can be a coffee snob. And it took me a while to actually try it. And I did not that long ago, kind of in preparation for this.
Yes.
It is amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
I was very pleasantly surprised.
Our coffee with the Specialty Coffee Association has been rated about an 83 to 85.
Wow.
We are number 3 in the Frijoles Plateau of the high country of Guatemala.
Wow.
We were the coffee for the nation of Guatemala at Dubai. My wife and I went to Dubai to represent One Cafe. They were having the Specialty Coffee Association like world gathering there.
Incredible.
And so for the 2020 Expo they put on, we were Guatemala's coffee. We've got a good product.
Yes.
That's unreal.
Absolutely. And the transparency, I think it's beautiful.
Yes.
I feel like you don't get that in a lot of industries.
Yeah. So, like, tell me more about that. So, other than just being super cool to know what hillside your beans are coming from, why is that important in coffee?
I think it cleans up the industry. You know, like people will tell you they get coffee from Ethiopia or Uganda and some of these really beautiful places, but is it truly from there first? And then if it is it just like this big lot of cheap beans they pulled together?
Right.
You know,
Mass produced.
What quality of bean is it? And so we can prove all of that. Yeah, so we report all that and stay very open book on it.
Oh, my word, that's incredible. And how, again, the farmers are treated and compensated and such. Wow, that's super special. I love it. I love it. So tell us more about United Rescue Alliance, like the genesis,
Okay. We started out doing a lot of missions trainings. I'll even back up. In 2006, I was able to purchase, my wife and I as a family, we purchased the last 1,000 acres of a World War II training camp called Camp Barkley.
Wow.
So in 1941, this was established in Abilene, Texas. 70,000 acres. This is a monster super camp. As America knew they were going to get dragged into World War II, right? And it expanded into 70,000 acres with almost 70,000 men.
Wow.
And I was able to purchase the last, thank you, Lord. Our family was able to purchase the last 1,000 acres of Camp Barkley from the military, which is like a gift.
Yes.
And so it was actually the rifle range. So I have a 100 station rifle range.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
And a little bit of infrastructure, right?
How cool.
So we get this, and instead of like flipping it as like an investment, we're like, Lord, you can do something with this. We created a church camp. We created housing for 100 people. We created we revamped the military dining hall, so 100 people person dining hall. Really neat for retreats. We do ropes courses, and we train up corporate groups to have bonding.
Oh, we're in.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Come out, we'll put you on the ropes course. It'd be great.
We could use that because we work together a weird amount now.
Yeah.
We need a few trust falls.
We need some
Trust
bonding,
falls.
yes.
Catch me, Sarah. So Camp Barkley, we have this, everything's moving forward.
Yeah.
And we're teaching people life languages like disc studies. We're doing Restoring the Foundations, which is like Christian counseling.
Yeah.
We're partnering with local homeless ministries and global groups for sending out goods and warehousing goods. But everybody loved disaster training. And so out of that, we created United Rescue Alliance, and that became our primary. So we go into other nations pre or post disaster. If it's like pre-disaster, like we can go in and we can do secular or sacred. What I mean by that is we can go in and just work with a community foundation. We can go to the mayor's offices and do disaster trainings, all kinds of different preparedness pieces for them based on what their needs are. They could be worried about mudslides. They could be worried about tornadoes.
Okay, I was going to ask, like, how do you get pre-disaster? But that makes sense. If you're in a community that is prone to a type of disaster, that makes sense.
So it can be specific for their area. Like we go into Corpus Christi, they want to get ready for hurricanes and flood and things like that. We go into Guatemala, we can do swift water rescue and mudslides.
Oh, my word.
Like we deployed people after the volcanoes for those very same things, right? So we do all the pre-stops, or sometimes it's active. Like my wife went to Tennessee on Monday and lined up warehouses for Good 360 to bring in 3 18-wheelers of goods and different partnerships based on what the needs are.
Yeah.
Because you have to know what the need is before you go in.
Yep.
Right.
You know, you don't bring them blankets if it's July.
Yep.
You bring them a lot of water. You have to find out, our feeding program's more important right now. What does it look like? Or disinfection, those kind of things. So, we also send people into the disaster as well.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so special.
Yeah, it is. And not something I feel like there's a lot of people doing. I don't know much about the industry, but I feel like that's one of those things that a lot of these communities are hyper aware of and don't really know what to do. And it keeps happening. Like I even think about, Florida and the hurricanes that just continue to beat them up. And it feels like having a preparedness group that can go out and specialize in a specific type of relief would be extremely beneficial.
Well, and it seems like you're fast moving, and again, you know the needs. You're not kind of held back by the typical government bureaucracy of things, right? I mean, we have 3 partners in Asheville, North Carolina, and that's hard to be there right now.
Yeah, the group in Tennessee that we partnered with are an hour away from Asheville, and that Asheville happens to be our focus. I didn't even know the gravity what MB2 was doing there.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, how special. Tell us about some more disaster areas, or you were just in Israel not too long ago, correct?
The wife went to Israel. I unfortunately have a day job that keeps me hopping.
Well, maybe tell us about your beautiful bride who happens to be in the room with you, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. I married way above myself.
Yes, you did,
about
sir.
31 years ago. Yes, with my high school sweetheart, Angel
cool.
Sue, my beautiful wife.
Oh, that's a
Love her.
cute name.
It is great.
Cute little Southern name.
It is, and she's my little Southern belle to some extent. So Angel has been doing most of the Israel side. For the last 3 years, Tel Aviv University has partnered with us on the mental, emotional, spiritual health program that we do. Now, this helps people how they respond in disasters. What are some of the needs? Cue the brochure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Tel Aviv University has picked this up in their master's program. Angel was there last month in Tel Aviv. And so as a husband, it's like, you're going to Tel Aviv during active war.
Yeah, exactly.
But, it's trusting God and trusting the process. And we're seeing a lot of fruit in Israel. During that time, they were able to do a lot of CERT, or Community Emergency Response Team training, as well as replicate a lot of disasters. So like you're on the university, they're intentionally, even during wartime, going to do like sirens. We're going to be showing people how to lift off debris off of people, go back through fire safety, putting out fires, going through all the basics of first aid as well with them.
Can you imagine like having to be concerned about that? We're so lucky the things that we don't have to worry about in our daily lives, right? That's just unreal.
Well, and this is probably a hard question to answer, but you have a very diverse group of interests and projects and things that you like pour yourself into. Out of all of the projects that you've worked on, what are you the most proud of?
Wow. That's a tough one.
That is kind of a tough one. I enjoy, because dentistry is what we do, right? Here we are as dentists. It's kind of the bigger picture. If you look at us as a whole, as dentists, we want to give back. We have high level compassion. We want to meet people's needs. We are blessed in our profession in what we do.
Yeah.
So we find ways to give back. For me, it would have been packing up my first office of 10 years. Instead of doing a satellite clinic, we put it all in a sea container and shipped it to Mozambique and created a dental clinic in Mozambique. That was a highlight. That would have been
That's amazing.
About 14 years ago.
And tell us, what was happening in Mozambique at the time?
We had partnerships in northern Mozambique with Iris Ministries, and they had created a hospital there, and they needed an ultrasound and several things for the women's ministry. And my wife, working with Pregnancy Resources in Abilene, Texas, they had an ultrasound that happened to be packaged up and ready to go.
Wow.
We also partnered with a group that works with Johnson & Johnson Ethicon, and so we pulled together a sea container of medical and dental and got it to Mozambique on a very slow boat.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
I bet. But it got there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's incredible. Where do you feel like your servant leadership mindset originated?
I think it's in our upbringing, For my wife and I, it's very important. It's kind of the way we were created, We've always wanted to give back. It didn't matter with churches or other organizations that we worked with or homeless ministries and just kind of helping meet other people's needs. I really feel blessed with my occupation and all the things he's done in my life. And so it's not out of legalism of, well, I got something, so I got to do this. But I think your mindset growing up is, I've got something that God's put into my hands. Let me multiply it and let me use it to bless other people.
Yeah.
And I think that we've seen that. This is a testimony. And so I've got to live that out, I love those opportunities that it gives us.
And how do you see that mindset in your practice?
Oh, my practice? I think it's infectious. I think for every dentist that sits in this chair, he has influence.
Yeah.
You may have 8 staff members. I've got like 10. And I want to call it the best in them. I want to make them the best person that they can be. And I want them to catch their dreams. As dentists, we kind of cringe when we lose our favorite dental assistant in hygiene school, like, oh, she's never coming back. Yeah. but you want to raise them up to be able to do that. I want them to go on to greater things.
Yeah.
I want them to grow in their expanded duties. I want them to grow in their education. And MB2 actually has that same mindset in raising people up and empowering them and financially raising them into those areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every pediatric dentist I have met in my role in the business development side of MB2 is just a really special human. What is it about peds that attracts folks like you? I mean, honestly.
Oh, man. Well,
because I couldn't do it.
We were just talking to two not too long ago, earlier today.
You're talking like, why do you do what you do? For me, it was, I knew coming out of dental school that I was most affected by like my high school counselors, coaches. I love teaching swimming for about 4 years to kids to give them a life skill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I'm like,
can you still do that? Because I don't actually know how to
I
swim.
can help you later. There's
we got
pool,
you. There's a pool.
100 yards over there.
No. Let's get on the beach with some Navy SEALs. Come on, we got this.
But I think, growing up, you see where the fruit is and what you enjoy doing and your passions that you develop. And for me, it was kids. I'm like, I can have impact as a human being and in the kingdom working with kids. I can pick up that little starfish and throw it off into deep waters. That's my favorite part of my day. I can speak life over circumstances. And sometimes it's the adults.
Yep.
As a pediatric dentist, we see all kinds of pain and suffering. Like 90% of my day is playing around, giving high fives, giving a toy, and I'm just loving it, right?
Yeah.
But 10% of the time, there's some pain and suffering aspects. And also, like along with the mental, emotional, spiritual health, you got to meet people where they are in our practices. And they have to know that you care about what's going on in their lives. And it creates a place of vulnerability in dentistry. And this is our fertile ground as dentists. When I have a mom come to me and she's like, oh, I got to tell my ex-husband that blah, blah, blah is going on.
Yeah.
I got to tell grandma that I got an abscessed tooth. Are they going to see that crown? Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
You can see some of the pain that goes with it. And as GPs, you give a lady a denture and it turns their life around, or that partial or that implant that looks beautiful, right? Or the veneers. For me, it's like I take a minute with a mom and say, I'm sorry you're going through that. Tell me more what's going on. It's going to be okay. You're here now. You don't want to partner. I mean, there are 2 kingdoms you can partner with. I can partner with shame, guilt, condemnation, and labeling, or I can partner with their identity and who they're created to be. And I can call it the gold in them.
Yeah.
It's always easy to find dirt in people's lives, but can you find gold in people and in that child and call them into their destiny?
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a special perspective. And I think it's
That was
also
a really good answer to your question.
Yeah, it's a little bit long.
We've
sorry.
got that
No,
on
it was
tape,
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's also super special in, your work with United Rescue Alliance and even just your practice that like you're very keyed into emotional, spiritual issues and growth and like,
It's all very cohesive.
It's one thing to, fast water rescue in Guatemala or, help with a mudslide, but there's a very significant emotional, spiritual repercussion of these events that like we don't really, I mean, me as a side, I don't think about it or they don't talk about 2 years later on the news, right? Like that's impactful and like how special that you all are, focused on those things.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had talked about this right before the podcast, and it's been sitting on me since, that you had a pretty special answer to what the favorite part of your day is every day. And I've kind of been sitting here going, I wonder what it is.
Yeah.
So can you tell us the best part of your day?
Yeah, the favorite part of my day would be that opportunity to kind of minister to people and talk to them and kind of pick them up and dust them off, let them know that it's okay what they're going through. encourage that kid. Because, we all have that challenging case. And when it goes right, you're like, oh man, all stars aligned. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Everything worked out. So when I take a kid that feels like they're emotionally damaged, the parent's like, this is a hard one. I don't think you can do this. And I win that kid over. To me, that's the most important. That's the best I could do with my entire day.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
That's
it was worth the wait.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, the impact that you'll have in children. I mean, as a father of a few kiddos, and my, especially the first few appointments with kiddos that had cavities, and like, oh my gosh, you feel so miserable, like the worst parent in the world when your kiddo rolls in. He's got, hey, we got 3 cavities, we got to deal with that. Like, what's going on? Like, fix that brushing protocol or whatever. But it's just so special to have a clinician that can, talk to you as a human and say, hey, look, no, this is, we got this, we'll figure it out, right? And the impact you're having on the community and the world is really profound.
Yeah, I agree. I know we hit on quite a few topics. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk to our partners, our listeners, all 4 of them about today?
Oh, yeah.
We're growing.
Absolutely.
The people
Dr.
in this
Poorman,
room.
I promise.
Oh, you guys.
Now we're going to blow up with you on here.
All right. So one of the big things you heard me allude to was MB2. Now, I think a lot of doctors in these podcasts will say what attracted them or what brought them to MB2. Some of it's financial. Some of it's like, oh, they put meat on the bones, or I got burned by this group, or these different things happened. When I saw MB2, when I saw they did a foundation, my little ears perked up.
Awesome.
Like, these people, they care, and they care about the individuals. Foundation would just won my heart with regards to MB2. And then a lot of the backstory of Dr. V in the early years, watching that podcast, I'm like, I can do life with these people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I found my tribe here, So I am very thankful for MB2 and the opportunities they've given me. For my own personal practice, they put meat on the bones of what I was already doing.
Yeah. Yep.
They showed me how to have more impact and to do more and be more not just in my practice, but as a human being. So,
Which is crazy because you're already doing the most.
Superhuman work in the world.
I feel like we should have probably intro Dr. Poorman with like a superhero sound. Can we add that in post?
Well,
I don't know, the Superman music.
Dr. Norman and Miss Angel Sue, right?
It's
you guys
so
are
cute.
you guys are a dynamic duo, and thank you so very much for being here.
We really
you both.
appreciate it.
Honored to be here.
All the incredible things you're doing. So awesome. Kudos. Listeners, thank you for joining us for another incredible, impactful episode of the MB2 Underground podcast.
Cheers.
Catch you next time. Power to the partners.